can see it all on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge. Rear wheelies like this one by Star Monster, and front wheelies by the likes of Carolina Crusher. It's all coming your way today on ESPN, the superstars of monster truck racing.
Hi again, everyone. I'm Scott Douglas with Army Armstrong. Chris Chapman will join us in a minute, and we're back at Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky, where 1 week ago some of the wildest racing we've ever seen on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge took place. And the guy who was really putting on the show and who was the big story was a fella who, frankly, didn't want to drive the truck he had here. Andy Brass made Bigfoot 4 talk on this figure 8 course.
Last week, Scott, it was a game of numbers. Bigfoot 4, remember, that's a 7-year-old truck. A lot of controversy started in Dallas 2 weeks ago. The truck that they were running was outlawed. Andy Brass made the statement, I would love nothing more than to come back and beat these guys with the old truck. And, Scott, last night he literally came that close to doing it.
In the run against Carolina Crusher in the semifinals, I don't think I've ever seen anybody in monster truck racing make up that big a deficit in one race.
He was well over a half track behind us. And after the run, during a driver interview, I remember looking at the camera saying, that was the best monster truck race I've ever seen. Then came the next race, which was the final. So that was last week. These guys have got a handle on the track. I'm looking literally for the people in Louisville to buy a ticket today to watch a war.
You know, I was talking to some of the drivers off camera before we went on, and they talked about being a little bit scared of this course. They say, hey, you can see the faces of the people in the crowd. But Andy Brass is not scared of this race course.
He's not afraid of the course at all, and that is something that the drivers are talking to me about. You got to remember, like you said, it's the longest course they run. They're turning left, they're turning right. And last week's winner told me in an interview later on, he said, Army, he said, when I was flying through the air, I thought the Bigfoot was going to literally land right on top of me. Now, it doesn't get any tighter than that.
It doesn't get any wilder, and it is a rough race course. Let's go down to Chris Chapman on the track, who's got more on this course itself.
That's right, Scott. There was a lot of breakage here in Louisville, Kentucky last week. Why? The drivers attribute it to these ramps. They say that the incline was so steep that it was shooting them straight into the air, resulting in a lot of breakage. For instance, we had many drive shafts broken, and the Clydesdale, he lost his back wheel. Now, what TNT wants to do to remedy this problem, you can see them working here behind me now, they're flattening out these ramps. Therefore, the truck should not get quite as much hang time, but it should make for some extra fast racing.
You're right about that, as they're going to get the ramps right to try and have a super day here on the TNT Monster Truck Challenge at Louisville Motor Speedway. The Clydesdale continuing to undergo extensive repairs by Bennett Clark and the crew. And, boy, they just breathing a snake bit lately. After a good run in Dallas in qualification, Wild Hair leaves his lane, knocks him over on his roof. Then here at Louisville Motor Speedway, first night of competition, ends up losing a rear wheel. Chris Chapman's going over to see if she can talk with Bennett Clark.
What type of damage did Clydesdale sustain when that back wheel came off last week?
Well, I broke the flange loose from the housing, which is part of the housing. It broke my steering ram that turns the back tires, broke my shocks loose, all my shocks are broke loose. A lot of the bolts pulled loose. This is major damage.
I also noticed some body damage. I understand you think that some of this could be a result of the flip in Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I think. From the way the brake is right here, I think I would consider a major possibility from the flip.
So what's the future for the Clydesdale now?
Well, we're going to try to get it back together and try to get into the race today. I don't know if I can run full bore tonight or not, but we'll go back home, straighten up the body, put the body back on, and we'll run it wide open again.
Good luck to you, Bennett.
Thank you.
We're about ready for the first round of competition, but before we get to the side-by-side racing, wanted to show you a wild qualifying run. This is Chris Tuffley, and the Star Monster is a GMC truck out of Syracuse, New York. Now watch Chris as he comes off the first time he jumps the cars. You want to watch his landing here. Come on back down. He was, he was trying to pull the back end of that truck back down, and the truck actually actually died on him as a result of the rough landing. Now, Tuffley gets it refired, and he'll go ahead and complete the lap. But certainly for Chris Tuffley, one of the wildest runs of his young monster truck racing career. And, you know, when he landed like he did with just the front wheels down and the rest of the truck flying up in the air, it had to be crossing his mind, uh-oh, this could be a real problem run. Possibly could have flipped over, possibly could have ended up in the wall, but he got things stopped down and was able to complete what turns out to be a legal, albeit a slow qualifying run. Well, coming into today's action, Equalizer in that real tight points race has 6 points of an advantage over Bigfoot. The Auto Value King Crunch is here and is still very much a player. Carolina Crusher a strong fourth. Awesome Kong rounds out the top 5. Then it's USA 1 Nightlife, a struggling Grave Digger, the Buffalo Tremor, and the Outlaw trying to come on. He's in the top 10.